Hello, everybody. Hi. How's it going? So, today we are going something a little bit different. Well, not a little bit different, not too different. We're going to go back to our usual thing. So, welcome to part 2 of our ritual. Hope everybody's having a good day, especially with this being our last day of summer, at least up in the northern hemisphere. Tomorrow will be the first day of fall. So happy Mabon. Still get to look up if it's Mabon or Mabon. But anyway, I hope you're having a happy day wherever you are. And then meanwhile in the southern hemisphere, it is tomorrow's gonna be the first day of spring. So happy the Beltane or Ostara. That's the one I tend to forget. That's the one I tend to forget the most. I think it's Beltane. No, wait. No, Beltane would be the opposite side, so I think it's Ostara. I have the Wheel of the Year on in my book. Hold on. This is why you do your research beforehand. Anyway, how's everybody doing? I hope you're having a good week so far. I don't usually do rituals back to back. I just felt like today was pretty important, considering that yesterday I experimented a little bit by having a ritual outside, and kind of came out a little bit different. And I was right; it was Ostara. So happy Ostara to all those in the southern hemisphere, and happy Mabon for those in the northern hemisphere. Hope you're having an awesome day wherever you are. So, yesterday I decided to try something a little bit different, and I did an outdoor ritual. Kind of not thinking, though, that my Wi-Fi is not as strong as it used to be. So, I kind of got disconnected a few times while I was doing the ritual yesterday. So apologies for that. But I hope, nevertheless, you got a lot of benefits from this ritual, and that you got what you needed. And I especially hope you get what you need today, especially with the next 6 days. Within the next 6 days, Mercury goes retrograde again. Mercury's going retrograde again, and so therefore it's very important to have some empowerment, have some strength to get through our next cycle, very important. So gonna go for some familiar material, which is to do a meditation from the Isis Oracle. We pulled a card last night. We're going to do that meditation tonight. And then, if you guys want, we'll also do some card pulls. How does that sound? That sound great? So, once again, you don't need anything complicated. I've already called in the corners already beforehand, so we're not going to go through that step tonight. So we're going to do something a little bit different. Got my candle from last night lit up. And yeah, just need a candle, notebook, pen, or whatever recording method you want to use, or if you even want to record. And just your beautiful self. Okay? That is all you need today. Because for a lot of things, you really don't need that much. You really don't. Because ultimately, you are the power. You are that key. You'll be the one who will open the door. I'm surprised we haven't had a single reference to that line in Kingdom Hearts again ever since the first game. Again, has the door been opened already? I have to play it again. I have to play the whole series again now. You know where my mind goes. But yes. I've been feeling really good. Like, yesterday's ritual was absolutely gorgeous. I felt the highest that I had been after a ritual. Today, however, I've been feeling that we need something just a little bit more low-key because we're preparing for some beautiful harvest followed by a nice long rest. So I feel this is a good time for us to prepare for that beautiful sense of rest. So how about just get to some really comfortable position. Make sure you are nice and aligned. They're seated or lying down. Whatever works for you. And if you just want to be here just because you want to be here for company, that's good too. Now, I wish I could play this playlist with you on the stream right now. Unfortunately, Twitch did mute one of my tracks, even though it was on copyright free network, which I did have permission to use and share. However, I just did not feel like going through the arbitration process, so I said not a challenge, and so as a result, I'm not playing the music on there. However, you can check out the playlist that I'm currently playing right here. Here we go. I mainly use Apple Music because that's the only one that I have that's ad free. Unfortunately, I don't know the equivalent of it on Spotify. I don't think there is an equivalent on Spotify. But I do have a couple playlists in the description of my YouTube channel if you want to follow along with that one, which I made based off of the Pisces full moon. The Pisces full moon last night, which was a really, really beautiful night. It was not too hot, not too cold, just right. Beautiful experience. I did borrow some tracks from this playlist to do my own. I've just been going through the entire thing to calm everything down. Just wind everything down, let everything sink in. So, today, we're going to do the Portal of Light meditation. She glides on wings through time and space. From the Isis Oracle by Alana Fairchild. And it was actually really perfect that I said get a candle, because it turns out you do need a candle for this meditation. So that actually worked out. So for those who did not catch the stream last night and just want me to go over it again, I'll read you the description of the card right here. Then we will sink into a nice liminal space, and then we will begin the meditation. And after that, card pulls, if anybody's interested. How's that sound? All right. Well, let's go ahead and get into it. So, here's a description of Portal of Light. She glides on wings through time and space. It is only this physical reality that is bound by time and space. You are a being conscious on levels beyond the physical world. You are guided to work with your healing powers beyond the confines of time and space, and to allow your sense of self to expand. It is safe for you to do this now. You will not become ungrounded through such spiritual growth. You are not leaving your earthly awareness. You are instead adding to it. And here is the card's message. You are growing in power and awareness. You have had breakthrough insights where you realize that you are not who you thought you were. You are in fact a much vaster being. Sometimes this is shocking and uncomfortable and difficult to accept. At other times it was gentle and made much sense to you. You are learning to integrate this awareness of your vast self into your life. The practical consequences of doing so are extraordinary. To live with less and less fear and insecurity, to become more detached and more passionate, more loving and less demanding, to need less and receive more, to feel more joy and exert less force to attain it. Such wonderful gifts await you. You also become capable of exerting healing influence beyond time and space, which means being able to help free yourself and others if you choose to share your healing gifts. You can learn to create freedom from trauma, attachment, history, and any other situation that may drain life force and distract from divine love, no matter whether occurring in this or any other lifetime. Isis guides you to powers and abilities to heal that are beyond time and space. It starts with the realization that what has happened in the past has power over you only to the extent that you allow it. The portal of light is being opened to you now to travel through time and space to release the past, to open up to a future bright, and to call for more power in the present moment. Once you have done this for yourself, if you are guided into the healing path, then you can share this with others. Be guided by the loving blessing of Isis to assist you in the sacred interdimensional travel now for healing and understanding, more growth and peace. If you also happen to have your own deck, and if you have also drawn the Order of the Merkaba, then part of your particular soul gift is an ability to navigate between spiritual dimensions of reality, shifting from lower vibrations of fear and bringing through higher vibrations of love to allow for peace and release. The combination of the Merkaba card and the Portal of Light card means you have the ability to not only navigate dimensions, but to bring higher dimensional awareness into the present moment, for healing with a natural soul ability to be present in lower vibrational realities, such as those of fear and competition on Earth at present, and simultaneously be anchored in higher vibrational soul realities of love, peace, and truth. This makes you a powerful source of light, and the Lady Isis and her beloved star Sirius offer you divine peace and protection now to help you in the sacred task of being a star of divine light and presence on the earth at this time. The Oracle of the Portal of Light also brings special guidance that a phase of time or experience is over and a new cycle at a higher vibrational turn of the spiral is beginning, so prepare to ascend. Expect things to become lighter, freer, and faster moving in your life, even perhaps whilst you appear to be more surrendered and more peaceful within yourself. So, that is the description for this guided meditation. So, for tonight, nothing too fancy here. You can bring a notebook to observe your own intentions. Focus. A candle. Doesn't have to be as fancy as this one. You can do something even smaller, like a tea light, or even this kind. I bought this for $1. Also bought this for $1. I even bought this and a set of 4 of these candles for $1. You don't have to spend an arm and a leg. I could just be be here with your own sweet presence. Just enjoy what it is right here. Got your mind, got your hands, your body, your spirit, your imagination. You've got so many tools. You don't have to go physical. Hey, it helps. Not knocking anybody who does use tools. I use them. Just sometimes, if you don't have access to them, that's okay too. You know? Alright, so I'm gonna light this up. going. Like I said earlier, no invocation of the corners today. I did open up a container here. Close it after this ritual's over. Head, may you think good things. With your eyes, you see what spirit wants you to see. With your ears, that you hear good things. With your mouth, that you say good things. Your heart may feel good things. Your body all around you. So that way, goodness around yourself and for the people around you. Doesn't even have to be Palo Santo or anything like that. You do it with incense too. Alright. So, you haven't lit your candle. Go ahead and do so now. And position it at a good eye level that will not make you strain. And then relax comfortably. If you don't have a candle on you, that's fine too. You can visualize one or imagine one. Create one in your head. If you need a visual aid, I will provide you one too. Here you go. Now gaze at the candle flickering with soft focus. And keep your eyes half closed, half opened as you focus on the candle and your breath. If you work better with shutting your eyes completely and just imagining the image of the candle, that works just fine too here. Just whatever you feel comfortable with. So go ahead and take some deep breaths here. I'm going to use my singing bowl as a guide here. So, the first bell. Deep breath in. And deep breath out. Deep breath in. Focus on your body on the chair or the cushion or the floor, wherever you're positioned right now. And out. Deep breath in. Feel the sensation of the space all around you. And the candle flame in front of you. And out. Notice the current sensation you're experiencing. Then, when you are ready, imagine you could project yourself into that candlelight, sending your awareness into it until you sense all around you, either actually or with intention, bright white light that's pure. You don't have to see it, you can also feel it as well. There's a certain energy, luminous quality that can come in For me, it feels kind of like a gentle hug. What does it feel like to you? Allow yourself to release anything at all, conscious or unconscious, that you feel weighs you down. Just release all that into the light. Let it be illuminated. Whatever comes up, you're safe in this space. It's all right to feel all your feelings. You don't have to cling on to anything. Just allow things to run their course. You don't have to give a story or a reason. Just be with it as it is. If it happens to show you a story, it's okay. Let it tell it. Be gentle with yourself. Be very gentle with yourself. Anything that's weighing you down, that you want to release, let her have it. Release it into the light. While you do so, feel free to say this incantation after me, or just listen. In this light, beyond time and space, I enter the portal of divine light and grace. I am free of shackles from this life or another. I surrender old fear to the Divine Mother. I now choose to be free of the past. In the present light of spirit, I now bask. In the portal of light beyond all time, love and light frees me into peace sublime. In this light beyond time and space, I enter the portal of divine light and grace. I am free of shackles from this life or another. I surrender old fear to the Divine Mother. I now choose to be free of the past. In the present light of spirit, I now bask. In the portal of light beyond all time, love and light frees me into peace sublime. Take a few deep breaths right here. Take some time to enjoy this present moment. To be here now. When you're ready, just take your time. Be gentle. Start coming back into the present moment. Open your eyes and stretch. Take it easy. How are you feeling? Feeling good? That's good. I'm glad. All right. So, a little bit of a recharge. I hope you certainly feel that. If you need a little bit of a rest to slow down, that is good too. Using it to sleep, go ahead and get some rest. But I'll be here when you come back. Alright. So, during the ritual yesterday, we explored 3 aspects: your inner child, your inner parent, and your inner elder. We experience these 3 phases in our lifetime, if we're fortunate to. We experience these 3 phases in our lifetime at least once. But we can occupy all 3 of these phases simultaneously, even if you haven't lived it out yet. Even if you haven't lived it out yet, you can live out all 3. I mean, there's the concept of maiden, mother, crone. I don't remember what the male equivalent is. I know they have that as well. I decided to go a little bit more neutral with interpretation, but then it also it became more distinct as I decided to explore this a little bit further, at least in my own life. I know children and elders, like especially when you look inward, it can feel very weighty. But it doesn't have to be that way. Children and elders, they have, believe it or not, the most objective discernment. Children, because they're open to everything and anything, and they could be blunt. And elders, because they live through so much of the world. They could see with more equanimity and objectivity because of years of experience. A lot of us are around the middle portion with parent, or if you don't feel comfortable with the title parent, inner sibling. Let's go with that. Just that some parts where you're still developing that executive portion, but you also still have that individual self. You still have that impact of yourself and the people around you. So, as a result of that inquiry, I decided to ask 3 questions. Feel free to note them down in your journal, as well as, well, I also forgot, I practically forgot, you can also note down your meditation experience. Feel free to note that down now. But I also recommend you ask these three sets of questions here, dealing with each archetype. So take some time, you can meditate on each one per day. You could even meditate on all 3 of them at once, reflecting them over time during the day, whatever you want to do. So, to your inner child, what will you say to your inner child? And what would your inner child tell you? Because believe it or not, children, they have a wisdom all their own that we can still easily adopt. We can lose touch with the chaos in this world. And meditation and play and there's so many ways you can come back to that. There's so many ways you can come back to that feeling. It doesn't have to be work. I mean, you could work towards it, but let's be frank, it's not satisfying, you know? So, to your inner child, what would you say to them? And what will they tell you? Take a little bit of time if you want to write that down. Or just continue on journaling about what we covered with the Portal of Light. Here's the card again. Excuse me. And then, to the inner parent. A little bit of a caveat here. I know this one can be a little bit charged. It doesn't have to be you. You don't have to be a parent. Don't even have to be a sibling. It doesn't have to be an actual parent. It doesn't have to be blood related. Regardless if you have parentage through adoption, IVF, natural conception, the rare virginal conception. Regardless of how you came into this world, or how you decided your descendants to come into this world, if you decide to have descendants at all, or even if you have siblings, you can pick a figure that's been really kind or positively influential to you if you can't see yourself in that role right now. It also can be through projects, through art, through your labor to other people. That's a sort of parenting. And there's even a phenomenon called reparenting, where adults are basically raising themselves. Because sometimes there may be things that you wanted to hear from your own family, but you just weren't able to get it. That you need to give to yourself. That's why I say parent, but when I say sibling, or whatever title you want to give to this middle portion, I think most of us are pretty much at this point, even if age-wise we may be on the elder or the child spectrum, and most of us are in this middle point. What would your inner parent tell you right now? What would they tell you right now? What would you like that like advice on, like their advice on, or would you like to let them know? What would you want them to tell you? It's okay if you don't have the answers either. Now you know what to open your eyes for as you go out into the world. The signals don't necessarily have to be words. It can be images. It can be a feeling. It can be something somebody did for you, or something you managed to do out of the goodness of your heart. It could be a thing that you noticed while you're walking down the street. It could be in a dream. It could be even in a card pull. Practically anything could be a message, and it doesn't have to come in at a certain date. Spirit does not run an hour calendar, does not have an expiration date. It come tomorrow. It come next week, next month, next year, next 5 to 10 years. Know that the right message is going to come to you when you need it. Now finally, as we all hope to get to, obviously, our inner elders carry all this wisdom and objectivity. They share with the world. They also carry within themselves. What would your elder self like you to adopt? What wisdom or state of mind do you observe in your elder self? What traits do they have? These are all 3 of them too, but I'll always have to take it where I know that's what we're all gonna go to eventually. So start adopting those traits now. What do they have? What do you want to embody? What they like you to embody? I know for mine, it's to relax, not overthink so much, do more, but not be so harsh on myself if I don't do it. If you don't do it today, you can do it tomorrow. Same time, though, try not to put it off. Especially when it's important. And trust that things are going to be okay. Because moments do pass. I just have times to remember to be present. I'm taking a mindfulness course in my grad school this year. And as an academic, it's very easy to get stuck in our heads. And sometimes even to dissociate from our feelings in our body. From the chaos that can live in our heads sometimes. The key is not to push away from it or drop into it, but be there as an anchor. Learn from it. Be right in the middle. Be the one stable point. In a book I'm reading right now, No Mind, No Lotus by Thich Nhat Hanh, he talks about an illusion or a metaphor of how a mother comforts her child, her crying child, till calm down, then they can assess what's going on and give what is needed. Sometimes it's just presence. Sometimes it's a little bit of food and water. Sometimes it's putting somebody to bed. It's a change. Kind of see my spirit or part of my mind as that mother cradling the chaos that is my mind. Because then it gives me something to do. I mean, don't attach yourself to the role per se, but especially if you have a tendency to disassociate, I do tend to disassociate or detach from my feelings. The mother imagery makes it a little easier for me to handle it, to not control per se, but like give a little bit of an anchor, encouragement. So like, it's like, you had a hard day today. It's okay. You're scared what you're going to do in the next 2 months. It's okay. It was nice weather today. It's okay. I had a really wonderful card pool. That's good. It's okay. Now focus right now. Don't have to push it. Don't have to force it. Just like cradle it. Obviously, it's not going to work for everybody, but it's one that worked for me. It's been working for me so far. It may change tomorrow. One piece of imagery that I've also come across, another piece of imagery, another metaphor that I came across was how if you need to like get quieter, swim deeper because it's deeper, it's quieter at the bottom. Or very common image, if the water's murky, let it sit still and the silt will settle, leaving the cleanliness at the top, and you can see through it for what it truly is. Seeing things what they truly are does just necessarily mean eyesight. It's not a physical thing at all. It's being honest. Being open to what it is. Acceptance. Acknowledgement. Equanimity. Compassion. It's not a numbness, but an awareness. That's what it is. Thanks to professors. It's not a numbness, but an awareness. You may not understand 100% of what's going on, but you're open to what's presented to you. You don't have to go into it just you don't have to just jump into it. You can ask questions. You can just jump into things sometimes, but you can also look before you leap. You gotta start to realize that a lot of the things that we tend to experience in this world, it's one of two things. Either something was created to make it so, in other words, it's fabrication, or you just weren't giving yourself enough patience. Because a lot of it is go, 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 when you really need to just slow down. Don't even have to take as long as the session went. You can just take 10 to 15 minutes, or even 5 minutes, or just 1 minute. 1 minute even can make a difference. Or 30 seconds. Take a few deep breaths. Just take a moment to breathe. That was beautiful timing, I have to say. That was beautiful timing. So, on that note, who's up for card pulling? Who's up for card pulling? Guys, if I can get some more people on here. Okay, who's up for card pulling? Who's up for card pulling? I am. Been overdue for one. Yes, even me. Once upon a time, did pretty regular card pulls. Even I can get behind sometimes. So today I'm going to be doing the full moon spread. Which I know should have been yesterday, but it's still pretty full out there. So it's basically spread, if you can see it right there. Yes. Question a situation as it is now. The past influences, current internal influences, current external influences, and guidance and advice. So, I admit, I've done a lot of work on this in the past year and a half. But I still feel like there's still a little bit more work I'm still doing in this area. And my area is definitely self-confidence. I'm almost 30, but I don't feel it. For some people, they're totally fine. They're totally fine with it. It's like forever young. As long as you don't get rid of that young part. That's the part you don't get rid of it. If anything, like I said last night, we're basically grown-up kids. We're basically bigger kids. We just have bigger toys to play with. See? That's what happens. Yeah, we just have a lot more toys to play with. And bigger toys to play with. We are big kids, essentially. That never goes away, no matter how much we want to say otherwise. And I think it's also because we make a big deal about phases. make a big deal about phases, at least in the West. I don't know about everywhere else. And milestones, like, like milestones when you have a child growing up, that usually ends once the child is kind of full grown, considered full grown, or they're past college. And yet we still kind of hold on to it, the markers, and sound like there are not that many markers in adulthood besides age. Like, there's marriage, maybe kids if you wanted to go that far, or the priesthood, and then there's way more to life than that. There's so much more to life than that. Gotta honor your rites of there's so many more rites of passage besides those 3 things in adulthood. There's so much more. You can create it yourself. Like, I'm gonna have a big graduation party after this is over. I still celebrate my high school graduation, and even my college graduation. That's a ritual, right there. Right there, that's a ritual. That's a ritual. We don't look at it as a big deal, but that's a ritual. I know what I'm talking about is completely different here, but it's related. That's why I brought it up. It's related. So, obviously there are trappings to adulthood. But I admit, some of the rites of passages that I was given, it didn't feel fully right. Like, I didn't feel like I was fully there. And then, now I'm almost in my 30s. And there's some parts of me that, yeah, I know they're going to there's some that are going to stay the same. But I don't feel adult yet, if that makes any sense. Like, there's something that there's one more thing in my, I mean, obviously, this is not my place, actually. This is my room, but it's my childhood home. I haven't moved out yet. I'm going to grad school. That's one big thing that, very adult decision right there. But it's just one mental thing. I mean, finances, obvious thing as well. That's another one that I'm hoping to improve as well. But I think there's this one mental thing that I feel like I still need to cross through, that I just haven't hit yet. So I'm kind of wondering if, during this time, if I can get some wisdom on that. I mean, I don't mind feeling young at heart. I just hope I can get the mind to match it too. Believe in it, you know? Alright. So I got 5 cards here. I had no jumpers this time. I usually get at least one, but I guess I didn't really have any this time. And today I am using the Shadowscapes Tarot. Of course, if anybody wants me to pull for something else, I've got runes. I've got the Isis Oracle if you want to do a pull for your own. I've got the Goddess Guidance Oracle. By the way, I pulled these 2 today. Mother Mary, Respect the Miracle, and Freya. And yeah, honestly, I think it's totally fit. Like, I had much less of a workload today when it came to work in the library this afternoon. And, well, this is a bold move, me doing 2 rituals in a row and just being honest about, yeah, I struggle with self-confidence. And growing up. Because that's reparenting in a nutshell right there. But yeah, so let's go ahead and look through these cards, shall we? Alright, card number 1. Oh wow, that's too fitting. So, we got death. I like the way death is interpreted in this deck as a phoenix. All right. So, yeah. This fits beautifully, actually. Because death is about I mean, we have the classic interpretation in like a tarot deck and stuff, but this interpretation I feel like it's really fits the meaning, which is about end of one phase, beginning of another one, and that's precisely what I've been feeling for the longest time. Is that I feel like I'm at the threshold of some big transformation or something shifting. I don't know how or don't know what it's gonna be, but like it or not, it's coming. Some phase is about to end and something new is coming in. I mean, we're also going through a turn of the wheel of the year. We're going from Lunasad to Mabon tomorrow. Well, technically this whole 3 days has been Mabon, but tomorrow is when the huge shift is occurring, where light and day are equal. So that's what it's been feeling. So I'm kind of not surprised that was the first card there. But I wonder, what are the influences that are going to come up? Let's see. So for past influences, we've got lovers. Probably maybe like the second time it's come up in my personal reading. I know, contrary to popular belief, lovers is not necessarily that kind of lovers. Although it can go that direction. But so far we've gotten 2 major arcana cards. I know I feel like I go through this every single stream, but in case if anybody needs an explanation. Major arcana cards, they're basically like, well, I kind of look at it like a screenplay or a narrative. Major arcana points are the basic major arcana cards that are exactly that. They are major plot points. And minor arcana, which is like wands, cups, pentacles, and wands, cups, pentacles, and swords. They're basically like the side stories or the background information, circumstances behind the whole thing. The supplemental material, so to speak. So the lovers. Union, balance, energy, flow, love, desire, passion, melding of heart and mind, forming a union or marriage. The lover is also about determining values and struggling with choices. The pure simplicity of the calla lily contrasts the sensual complexity of the rose. So yeah, that's about to say, like, it's about decisions and also the harmony behind those decisions. There we go. I wasn't able to get it clearer. There we go. Yes. That's it. No. It's getting too bright. There we go. I had to zoom in a little bit. Okay. But yeah, that's about right. Calla lily, if you go with flower symbolism, at least from what I can remember, it's kind of a double meaning. Because on the one hand, it's like a sacred flower that's kind of like it's a flower celebration. But then else could be a flower of mourning and spiritual connection. 2 meanings in one flower. And then roses, they can be romantic and also in friendship. Yeah. To clarify, love of your life can also be your best friend. Doesn't have to go as far as that, but yeah, that connection could be something that you actually needed. I think the movie What If, starring Danny Radcliffe, kind of covers that in a way, because like the true love of his life is basically the best friend. Not necessarily in that realm. Like, they're not together in terms of romanticism, but, like, they're together in terms of, like, being ride or die with each other. Like, being friendship, like, a tight friendship. Then nothing would break them. And again, I haven't seen it. I shouldn't reference things that I haven't watched. But I heard it's a really good film. Anyway, current internal influences, we got Three of Cups. Which, again, that's really fitting. I shouldn't surprise myself with this. Like, I shouldn't, like, feel, like, surprised with this, but, like, you don't know. It's, like, the message that I need to hear, it gives them. A call to celebration, dancing, and singing. Friendship is a key component, and companionship, relying on others, and developing community and team spirit. That's very true. Like, I'm sorry, I think, the confidence thing is starting to get a little better, but it's, like, I think it's also because I have a good group of people behind me now. That's the big difference, is that I have friends, I have my family, I have spirit, I have my community, online and off, that have been really important in terms of developing a better sense of what things are. That's so important. So important. And then, for current external influences, we got Knight of Swords. Very commanding here. Looks like, I think it's an ibis, which is like riding one. And a bunch of swans and even a hummingbird charging in. I'm trying to imagine a fantasy story where, like, a hummingbird goes off to war. Anyway, the Knight of Swords is the brave hero who rushes headlong into conflict to defend his beliefs. He is blunt and comes directly to his point, and is incapable of dissemblance. I should know what that means. This is why a dictionary is incapable of dissemblance. New Oxford American Dictionary, dissemble, meaning conceal one's true motives, feelings, or beliefs. So basically unable to hide. He's honest. Which lines up with the sword. Which means, like, being honest which is basically cutting to the truth. Cutting away any illusions or deceptions that would take away from one's truth. And that's what mindfulness basically is. It's the pausing, the clearing away, knowing that things come and go, to see what's actually behind it. And that's the process of mindfulness. Which I'm feeling like I'm getting better and better with all these readings that I've had to go through. But then also just realizing the importance of being aware. Not to a hyperfixation, of course. Ah, yes. Let me do a little bit of help here. A little bit of tech help. So they wanted to jump in. There we go. Okay. Where was I? Yes. So yeah, that's basically what mindfulness is. It's heightened awareness. And in a way discernment. But also be aware of more opportunities to be compassionate. And not be so attached to the outcome. Speaking of outcome, we're on to the last card. Guidance and advice. Let's go. What's going on? 5 of Swords. It's a really interesting card. I admit. This is the card out of all tarot decks. Like, 5 of Swords is the one that confuses me the most, followed by, I think, 7. Alright. So 5 of Swords. Sad discord and conflict of interests. The choices make it easy to profit and look to one's concerns, for it feels the world is allied against you. Emphasis on feels, because this is just because something feels that way may not necessarily mean that it actually is. I think that's the advice it's trying to give me. Just because it feels like something's against you doesn't mean it actually is. I think that's what I meant when I mentioned earlier in class. Like, somebody kind of mentioned about how some things were tests. Pass fail. And I also kind of mentioned that maybe it was more of, maybe necessarily a test, but more so practice. An opportunity to practice what you've learned in a scenario. Or another thing, which I didn't get a chance to bring up, but kind of came to mind too. These things that may have always been there, but we're just paying more attention to them now. Because we've been taught to be more aware of them. And again, may seem like one thing, and then it turns out to be something else. And I think it's also the other thing, which, I mean, I don't think about it as much, but I think it's the other message I'm kind of getting here, at least, is, at least from, like, the book, talked about, it may seem easy to pluck one's own interests. And yeah, self-preservation is in every human, even me. But it doesn't mean that giving to others means you have to leave yourself out of the equation. I mean, I know not everybody follows this, but if you think about the wicked reed, and ye harm none, do what thou wilt. Or the golden rule, do unto others as what you want done to you. Love your neighbor as yourself. That was another one. I just forgot what it was. Oh yes, the Eightfold Path. How I relieve suffering. 8 ways of relieving suffering. Believe it or not, contrary to popular belief, all those things apply to yourself as well. We get so concerned about being self-centered or being perceived as self-centered that we forget that those terms also apply to ourselves as well. Let me phrase it another way that I kind of realized like 2 weeks ago. It is beautiful. That's amazing that you help other people. I think this is what my grandfather, God rest his soul. So my grandfather was trying to tell me when I was in high school. I just didn't get it until now. It's beautiful that you're able to help other people and you do it. But it's also important to remember that you are also worthy of getting help when you ask for it. There's even a verse for that too. Well, I didn't grow up in that kind of tradition where you're able to recite the chapter and the verse right away. I was raised Catholic, but I wasn't in that kind of school of memorization. But I remember there is a verse that goes along the lines of, help is available to those who ask for it. It's a universal thing, but it's like, I remember there's a verse that went specifically like that. If you need help, ask and it shall be given. It shall be received. I mean, I often ask who watches the watchers, who helps the helpers? We all do, every day. And you can help yourself. You can allow people to help you. You can even help you. As proven by this reading that I'm doing in front of you right now. Oh, but yeah. I mean, I'm going to be musing around this for the rest of the week. Rest of the week, but yeah, this was definitely very helpful. I know for reading for yourself, it can be especially difficult. So that's why I say give yourself a few days to process through it. But then also, this is a good exercise of equanimity towards yourself. Plot twist, at least in the Buddhist sense, there is no self. It's like, there is, and there isn't. It'd be interesting like that. I wish I'd explain it myself, but I'm still learning. It's basically it's my personal koan. True answer is you got to experience it for yourself. It's basically the summary for everything is you got to experience it for yourself. You'll find your answer then. Now that's amazing. That's amazing, you know? That's really cool. Thank you, cards, for doing a beautiful job. Right, who's next? You know what? Let's do one more. Let's do one about the situation of Mercury. Woo! Retrograde. Yeah, these two want to stay out. Okay. Mercury retrograde was just like the cards wanted to come out and play. Want to come out and play today. Ooh. I got a jumper. Actually, it's like saying card number 1. Okay. Here we go. We'll do these last two, these face down ones last. Okay. So I'm wondering about this one first. Strength card. Some people call it the classic Leo card. I wouldn't say it's a star. But yeah, I think it's the universe's way of saying, be brave. Not the first Mercury retrograde, certainly not going to be the last. Be brave during this one. It's going to reveal a lot. That's the sense I'm getting from that one. Then, question situation as it is now. The Magician. Yeah, going through alchemy, changing of phases, changing of the wheel of the year. Full moon, we're about to start waning pretty soon. Pretty soon we're gonna have the nights longer and the days shorter. All that jazz. Calm composure and patience, compassion, persuasion, and soft control, tempered force, managing impulses to control anger and force rather than being manipulated by them, unshakable resolve that will see you through to the desired end. Case in point, the Magician. Let's take a look. Originality, creativity, skill, willpower, self-confidence, dexterity, and sleight of hand. It is about grasping the unseen around you and harnessing it to become reality, drawing forth the ineffable into material realm of existence. That's basically Mercury right there. It's basically communication manifested. So, be open to the messages. The Mercury retrograde will come in. Make it a little fuzzy. You may have a little bit of magnetic interference, but rest assured, the message is coming, so pay attention. All right, past influences. The World. Oh, that's a beautiful card. I think they also made a figurine out of it. Satisfaction and peace of mind, a successful conclusion, and the end is in sight. Achieving balance, melding, and blending to bring together in unison the multiple songs of life, the world is a card of realized goals, and prosperity is a state of completion. Excuse me. State of completion. I guess it kind of all felt like at this point, we thought there was going to be some sort of completion to our current situation, but we're still not out of the woods yet in a lot of ways. There's still things that are reopening. There are things that we're still figuring out. There are things that we're still healing. We thought we'd be done by now. We're not. We're just beginning. And I think the thing we're just starting to realize is that the completion is internal. Kind of noticed with this card in particular, she's in a garden sanctuary, and she's holding a spear of her own, with the spear of the moon being outside. So, I think this is calling us to go within. Then current internal influences. We've got Ace of Pentacles. Possibility of prosperity, abundance, and security is the promise of wealth and well-being, of flourishing, and of reaping the rewards of hard work. There's a chameleon at the top, showing about how opportunity changes, even when something as tangible or considered tangible. It's all energy. Even physical things are energy too. Wealth doesn't necessarily have to be literal. My mom and I had this conversation earlier. I got a little bit emotional, but I kind of rewind back a little bit to the self-confidence thing. Financially, it was one of those things that kind of hit me. Compared to my peers, or at least most of my peers, I feel like I was nowhere close to that freedom that they had initially. And then my mom gave me a little bit of a redefinition of prosperity and wealth. It doesn't have to be tangible. I basically come from generations of very well-educated people. And those who made money, made businesses out of their own bare hands. So, in that sense, it's nothing new to me. It doesn't necessarily have to be wealth of money. It could be wealth of knowledge. Wealth of experience. Wealth of opportunity. More ways to define wealth besides the material. It's also up here and here. Could also be another stimulus check is coming. I don't know. But there's more to life than money. Makes it easier to do things, but that should not be your main drive. Unless it's your purpose for it to be your main drive. In that case, go nuts, but for most of us, it probably isn't. Find a different motivation. Now, current external influences. Judgment. Do you know my name? Judgment. Does anybody remember Rocky Horror Picture Show? Not Rocky Horror Picture Show. Gregory Horror Show. That's what it was. Does anybody remember that show? Or the game associated with it? There's this character called Judgment Boy. So, judgment. Release and renewal. Absolution. The freshness of a new dawn. A new start. Making a judgment, though it might be harsh and difficult to face. The necessity of hard choices. Face down those decisions, recognize the need, and forgive. I think forgiveness is especially a big one. Again, another charged term in the spiritual community. But forgiveness is very big. It's not just for the other person. It's mainly for yourself. Absolve yourself from the fact that you didn't know that much at the time you went into something. Release the stress of not knowing what tomorrow's going to bring. Because you never, other than like the practical stuff, you don't know what's coming. And remember that each day is a new start. Each day is a beautiful new start. To start over. Start things fresh. And do things a little bit differently than you did the day before. Decisions, they can be hard. But then once you go through with it, one thing you've dropped. One more thing you've dropped to make yourself free. And finally, guidance and advice. Then we'll get to the jumpers in a moment. Guidance and advice. We got the King of Swords. Very dramatic card. Kind of reminds me of Gandalf. Especially with the owl staff. Like the vertical sword he holds at the ready, he is the pillar of strength and mortality. A warrior king, his sword is always drawn, and he is prepared to spring into action. So, think similar to mine, where this is the time to dissolve all illusions and preconceived notions that we tend to hold about ourselves and each other. It is the time to be patient with ourselves and each other. It is the time to be kind to one another. Because, yeah, we may think being hard on ourselves and punishing ourselves is going to make sure that we don't do something ever again. But you know what else it does? Leave scars. It doesn't have to be visible. Leave scars. Sometimes the thing we need to do is not more punishment or a slap on the wrist per se, but an acknowledgement and kindness to ensure, hey, went the wrong course of direction here, my friend. Let's reroute. Rerouting. I'm thinking of NSO. I was in NSO for like 6 straight weeks, so I had to hear the GPS voice. It was a good one, though, I will say. It's very soothing. But yeah. There's a time, like this Mercury retrograde is going to be a time of great discernment and great change. So it's very important that you remain open. Be gentle with yourself when you go through the toughest decisions, the toughest calls. It's very important. All right, let's pick up these 2 and then we're going to call it a night. Unless anybody else wants to do a poll. All right, we've got the 5 of Cups. I think this might sum up of what I was about to say next. And then we've got the 10 of Wands. Oh gosh. Yep, that basically summed up what I was about to say, most importantly, which is, remember, you're not alone. Don't get too stuck in your own bubble. There's plenty of help all around you. Notice the fairies right there, the fae. And don't take too much more than you can carry. Some things may require old school effort. You can endure a lot more than you think. But don't carry on too much to the point where it feels heavy. I think that's why circles, meditation circles, drum circles, discussions and the like, they've become very important nowadays. Because, I mean, there might be a facilitator, but for the most part, nobody's above or below in the circle. The sharing is so that it makes the load much lighter for the person who shares. And the person who receives the share, they can choose what to take on and what to leave behind. So that way they don't have to carry on a heavy load either. That's the beautiful wisdom. You may not necessarily get any advice out of it. In fact, in a lot of places, it's advised not to advise. Let the people come to their own conclusions, because oftentimes the advice is based on what you personally benefited from, which may not benefit the person next to you. And even your motivations can be questioned too. Or it could be disagreed with, thus taking away the point of the exercise. But yeah, if you have spaces that you feel alone, or you feel like you carry on too much, know there is a lot more internal strength than you think you have, and you've got friends to help you along the way. Okay? All right. So we've been streaming for an hour and a half, so we're going to go ahead and close up. So first, I want to thank you. So beautiful people who come across the circle in the future, or who have been with me from the get-go. I thank you. Thank you so much for being here. To all the helpers, I thank you for your service and your work. To all the peacemakers, especially on this International Peace Day, I thank you. Here's another verse that I remember that says, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall inherit the earth." I believe that's how it goes. If not, I know there's something about the Beatitudes about who. It's blessed are the meek who shall inherit the earth. It's the meek. And there's something about the peacemakers in the Beatitudes. Can't remember off the top of my head right now, but I thank you for all the work that you do to make our world a much more peaceful and much more safer place to be in. And we focus on moving forward and upward. And to all the divine helpers, I thank you. I thank you for guiding these rituals for the last 2 days as we turn the wheel of the year. And we get into our Mercury retrograde on the 27th. May we be open to the wisdom that it provides us. Any signs that you may provide us now or in our dreams, may we be open and receptive. And if we need to, act accordingly. Divine in me acknowledges the divine in you. I thank you. Thank you so much for being here tonight. And thus, this ritual has ended, but the circle is unbroken still. It is done. And yeah, the glass came like that, actually. So, lately I've stopped blowing out my candles. Because apparently a lot of traditions like blowing out. I mean, unless you're doing a birthday wish, blowing out kind of blow away the blessing that you're invoked in it. But I want to ask you, like, do you blow out your candles? What's your reason behind it? If you don't blow your candles, same. What's your reason behind it? I would love to know. What do you personally do? I used to do more of the blowing out because it was more convenient. But nowadays I just snuff them with like another candle or my incense thing because it fits around the top. But yeah, so anyway, that's pretty much it for tonight. Thank you so much for jumping in. If you ever jump in later, you're fine. So anyway, usually I do gaming streams. So tomorrow will be I'll resume that with Parasite Eve 2. We still need to finish the finale. I've been putting it off for a while. But we're gonna finish it up. And then this Saturday we've got Rod's Route, chapter 4 of that. I'm almost done. I was saying. Chapter 4, Cinderella Phenomenon, Evermore of Rod's Route. We're going some pretty interesting territory so far in terms of the story, with Tobias of Tantalus. Then once we finish both of those games, or one of them, we're going to switch to Dandara Trials of Fear Edition, as well as the Oregon Trail. Speaking of Tobias of Tantalus, he is doing a playthrough of the game Kena Bridge of Spirits, which just came out today. A lot of people are going to be playing through it today and tomorrow, so look forward to that. I'm excited. I'm certainly excited. The game looks gorgeous. I'm also going to be doing, from now on, the Fiverr shop stuff is going to be by commission only, but $20 flat rate. $20 flat rate. If you do have to pay a little bit less, please DM me before making an offer. But the one plus thing is that regardless of the question, it'll take as many cards as it takes to answer your question. And finally, support the Red Lake Treaty Camp and any indigenous movements that protect our water and our natural wonders of the world. So, check out facebook.com/Red Lake Treaty Camp, as well as many other resources that are available to find out about that. Also, 9 days from now, it is Orange Shirt Day. So if you want to wear orange for that, keep an eye out for stuff like that. Here's the social media in case you want to tune in for any other things. I use TikTok a lot. I also have Twitch and YouTube. I also finally put Discord in the description of my YouTube channel. So if you want to join that, feel free to jump in there, as well as check out my other stuff. I have a second channel, Theological Otaku, on YouTube, which I should get an upload pretty soon. I also have DJ MK for Life for Twitter, if you want notifications, as well as on Discord, the mahokuichi.blogspot.com for a blog, and of course I mentioned I have a Fiverr page. I also have a Coffee page as well, coffee.com/Tonders. Link is in the description. I am trying to save up for Final Cut Pro so that I can do much more professional looking videos on my channel, because I think it's time that I started upgrading some of the things that I've got in terms of my video production. So yeah. I rattled off. Like, sorry about that. It has so much information, and I wanted to get going. It's 10:10. That's beautiful timing. So anyway, thank you so much for joining me for these last two rituals for the last 2 days. Please feel free to come back to this anytime that you like. Get a little bit inspired. The next one is going to be in 2 weeks. To remember the moon. What is it? I know the full moon's in Aries. That's happening in October. It's funny that I say Aries, considering that right now the full moon's in Aries, but the next one's in Aries. Let's see. Of course you're gonna put it behind premium paywall. Okay, hold on. Sorry, I'm taking forever with this intro. That's another thing I would like to work on, is my intros. Okay, so the next new moon. October 6th. It's October 6th, and it's a new moon in Libra. There we go. So, October 6th, new moon in Libra, and then 2 weeks from that, so October 20th, I believe, it's a full moon in Aries. So look forward to rituals around then. And then we've got the 31st, which is Samhain, aka Halloween. This is Halloween. So we got 3 coming up, albeit more spread out. So look forward to that. So until then, thank you so much for watching. Stay safe out there. Enjoy the first vestiges of fall. And of course, may your heart be your guiding key. See you next time. Bye.